All right, hello and welcome to the channel. I'm trying to multitask and pull out of the garage all at the same time. Recipe for disaster. Wouldn't be the first time. We're here in the Tesla today, just well, I'd said running errands, but honestly, we're just going to happy hour before we get the kids. But since we're here together in this car, I wanted to share with you the not so great charging experience that somebody here had just yesterday. And just kind of trying to balance out things. I think overall with EVs, things are not as dire and worrisome as a lot of people would have you believe. It's definitely possible to do road trips, and day-to-day commutes and stuff are really generally not too much of a problem. But there is a lot of stuff that could go better. So come along with us and we'll talk about it. So let's drive.
That's right.
All right, so why don't you set the stage? What was the situation yesterday?
So yesterday I was leaving to go to work, and I was going to take the Rivian as per usual. I knew it had enough charge on it, and you said, "Oh no, I need to take the kids to hockey, take the Tesla," and I was like, "Fine." And I got in the Tesla, and
I believe my exact words were, "Take whichever car you want, you want, as long as it has enough charge." No,
your exact words were, "Take the Tesla so that I have it for hockey," and I should have argued back and said, "Well, I'll be home in time," but whatever. Okay. Fine, I took the Tesla. There's a cop up there, just watch out. I took the Tesla, and when I got in the Tesla, I had Arlo already strapped in, and I got in and I was like, crap, there's only 74 miles left on this car, which in theory should be sufficient because it's under 30 miles. It's under 60 miles round trip from home to my office and back home again, but detours, speeding, weather elements, etc., like it was cutting it close. So at that point I had Arlo strapped in already, and he had opinions and he wanted to listen to Rolling Stones, and I was just like, you know what, screw it, I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it. Like, there's superchargers and stuff. So I get to work with, so I left with 74. I got to work with 47 miles. And you get the yellow, like, warning, it's cold outside. This car uses battery while you're sitting.
Oh, I didn't think about that, like,
yeah,
with how cold it is that...
Well, it wasn't even that cold,
yeah.
So I only ended up losing a couple of miles during the day, but yeah, never mind. So I was like, okay, fine. So I was like, okay, well, I'll take it to a supercharger or like figure it out. And then Tyler reminded me, and I knew I have chargers at work. All right, so I'm out here at Charge Point at work trying to get a charge. Told Tyler I would do him a favor and do this video because I'm so annoyed. So I come up to the station and I try to activate my charge session, and I hit price and it tells me free. So I hold up my phone to it, which I don't think you guys can see. But anyway, long story short, it's just been telling me this whole time that the station is unavailable, and that it's basically offline. When I go into the app, it also tells me that the station is unavailable. So I have 4 chargers in my office, and 2 of them are completely not being able to be charged. It looks like this guy also had the same issue as me, because he's not charging, and usually folks don't just park here. So I'm annoyed. Now I need to figure out charging on the way home, which was not part of the plan. I mean, I also never leave home without enough charge. Tyler reminded me, and I knew I have chargers at work. I have 2 stations, 4 ports, is it called? Like, sure, to plug in, whatever. So 4 cars can charge at work, and I've never used them because someone told me that they're super expensive. But basically it was coming out to what, $2.75 an hour. Yeah. Well, so is it 2 different things though? So yeah, it must. So the one's a Charge Point, and the other one that I looked now is a Grizzly. Okay. But I think they used to both be Charge Points. Okay, so it's 2 pedestals, each one with 2 cables on it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So one's Charge Point, and the Charge Point one I looked in the app and was offline. It said status unavailable. Okay, well, I didn't even notice that, but it said $2.75 an hour, which is kind of odd because most of the time you pay by the kilowatt hour, but I don't know if it's set up that way because it's the way you're at work, but basically, like, cost-wise, it wasn't that expensive, and the time that it would have taken me to drive to Edison during my lunch hour for the supercharger wasn't even a thing. And so actually Edison isn't even the most convenient thing, but we'll get to that. So I go outside, I move the car, and I go to try to set it up, and part of it was like user error, frustration. I didn't know how to like set the thing up, so I finally set this stupid app up, and it kept telling me charge unavailable.
So I think, sorry to interrupt, but I think that like
when you
overall
tap it, so
yeah.
just one other thing, and I don't know if this is the way the app was supposed to work, but I signed in as you. I forgot that I had my own ChargePoint account too. So every time I would tap it, it would just bring up my credit cards.
Okay, yeah.
And so I would pick a credit card, and then every time I picked my Costco City card, it would tell me unavailable.
Yeah.
And so then I would try my Amex, and it would tell me download the app. But I had the app.
Okay.
And so then I logged in as me into the app, and I did that again, and that's when it just kept telling me that it was unavailable.
Okay, yeah.
And it was actually telling me that it was going to be free to charge.
Oh, interesting. Okay. You have to keep checking it out if it ever comes back online. But I was going to say, I think like the most annoying thing with with a lot of the charging right now, like especially these you know, like office and hotel and restaurant, the level 2 chargers, the AC chargers that are slower, is that like you just like you need. I have a folder full of 12 different apps, for all of these different
not
things.
even that, plus I'm standing out there and everyone's walking in and out of the office, and here I am, the schmuck that can't figure out how to charge their own vehicle. So I go inside, and the maintenance guy happened to be there. I said, hey, do you guys like service the chargers? It's not charging. He goes, I'll go reset it. He even reset it for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it came back and it said unavailable, so I was like, fine. I was like, I can't spend the next 3 hours of my life down here trying to figure it out. So I went back upstairs, and in the app, that charger was actually showing as no status.
Yeah.
As status unavailable.
Wrong with it, yeah.
So I was like, okay, great. So I logged a ticket with it, and they actually wrote back to me and said, oh, chargers come on, chargers being offline, basically just give it a couple of hours, it'll be fine. So a couple of hours, I was like, all right, I'll go back down at lunch and check what the deal is. And so I went back down at lunch, and then of course, no, you have the right. So I went back down at lunch, and of course the Grizzly Charger, the people were still, they parked for the duration, right?
So there's 2 cars there?
There were 2 cars at the Grizzly. So they parked for the day. They didn't need to be parked for the day. Like, you could just come out and move your car. But
this is the thing. I don't have the parking at my office, but like there's a Slack channel that people talk about it, and that's the constant complaint that people are just. I mean, like, you get it. Like, it's inconvenient to come and move your car when it's done charging, but like people are just there for the entirety of the day.
And they were still there when I left. So that was. So I went back out and I tried the whole thing again, and it was just giving me the same. Between the app and between the thing, it was just giving me the same status error. So at this point, my anxiety level is through the roof, because I'm like, well, now I'm like, okay, now I have to leave work earlier because I didn't factor in charging as part of my commute back home. But luckily for the Tesla app, I went into the app and I just did, I routed myself home, and it told me that there was a charger, it didn't tell me to go to Edison, because at that point it was like my lunch, like I had a meeting coming up, so I couldn't like just leave. And so it was like, oh, just stop in Cranford for 5 minutes, which is right off the Parkway, to charge, which I didn't even realize was there. So like I was relaxed, and I was like, fine, like I'll just take care of this at home. On my way home. So long story short, time to go home. I put it in. I guess because of traffic, it actually had me going. The route planner was like, go to Springfield and stop in Springfield for 10 minutes at the superchargers there, right off of 24 to charge before coming home. And then, not even exaggerating, less than 10 minutes into the commute, I guess it realized that between traffic and everything, I would have enough range to get back, and it just took the charging off of the commute. But the point is, like, that was unnecessary stress in my life. Because, like, one, the chargers were there, but no one gives a shit about those chargers. Like, they're not serviced at all. They're spot right there.
Well, because it's a shared responsibility between your building, at least. Like, that's better than I would have even thought.
Well, I think the building, but I don't think the building wouldn't have done anything about it. But I would say it's the building's responsibility to see that it says that it's offline for so long, and to file a ticket with ChargePoint. I shouldn't be the one that has to file the ticket.
But then it seemed like ChargePoint didn't care at all either.
Well, they said to call back, and I'm like, I'm not listen, I've had enough time on the phone with customer service lately. Like, I'm not. Yeah,
and I don't want to give ChargePoint too much crap either. Like, they honestly, almost every experience I've ever had with ChargePoint has been positive. Like, I think they have some of the highest reliability and best maintenance like in the business. And also their model is like they don't just sell it to somebody else who operates it. Like they're actually responsible for at least like the back end parts and stuff.
No, but the point is, I don't know how long that one has been an issue, but I've seen cars in all 4 slots.
Okay.
What I've never looked at closely to see is if all 4 cars are plugged in. The first slot, the Grizzly, there's always 2 cars plugged in there. So maybe people know.
That one
and
might
when
be
they
free
come
also,
in,
and maybe the charge point one's not.
they might both be. Well, the charge point one was saying it's free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except I couldn't actually figure it out because it wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
So I will try the Grizzly one morning. Is that a separate app?
I don't know. Grizzly's like a company that makes chargers. I don't think that they have an app and operate it, but who knows?
Okay, well, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do it next week. I'll test it out.
Okay.
I'll come in.
All right.
I'll go in earlier one day.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, interesting experience. It just shows, you know, like this is not generally stuff that you would have. I mean, I've seen gas stations down, but like it just shows there's still a long way to go with a lot of this. Like,
but I also shouldn't have gotten worked up. Like I had the Tesla with me. Like, there's 12 gazillion chargers between my office and home to charge. But
and it's also like you know that. Well, actually, the Tesla is more optimistic than conservative with the range estimates. But like, you know, I would have been. Even if it said that you were gonna get home with 0, I would have still like probably done it if it were me. But it
was, even when it had me charging, I was getting home with 1%. But I knew I needed to stop at the grocery store and to pick up Arlo. And I didn't, like, the last thing I wanted is the car to die at Primrose.
So we need to get him to the other daycare that has chargers.
Which one?
In Morristown. They have two flow chargers there too.
Really?
Yeah, they must have done something like in construction there. It's the same as the Dunkin' Donuts we were at. They have the chargers there too. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, so you know, and the other thing too is like this was a situation we didn't even need to like really be in because we could have just charged it all the way at home, but just kind of forgot and miscommunicated and didn't account for it.
That, and I think you and I we do need to consider like a second plug.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Something.
We could even just plug in the Tesla to the 110 most of the time.
Yeah.
Like into a normal outlet. Well, we'll see. We got some. Stay tuned because we have some other charging things coming that might help us with the situation a little bit.
What's coming?
We have a higher powered like wall charging unit coming.
You ordered one?
I got somebody's sending me one. Yeah. All right. Well, with that, let me know. Have you ever had a charging experience like this? You know, like I said at the beginning, I am super enthusiastic about EV adoption. I think that a lot of the issues and challenges are way overblown, but I do want to be honest about some of these things too. Like, it's not all roses and rainbows and unicorns.
No, it's just a problem that no one seems to care about that piece of it, and that's the part that's going to screw up everything else.
Yep, exactly. And the problem is every time that you have one, it only takes one of these things, and then people are...
One of these things in a slow news cycle.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. It's happened multiple times. So anyway, let us know what your charging experiences have been in the comments below. With that, thanks for watching. We'll see you out there on the road.
Bye.